Shabbat Shalom, my people, and you're welcome to the Shabbat of this morning. The Parashat that we're discussing about this morning is Parsha Pinchas, and as I said, among my people, we call it Pinchas, but people call it Pinchas, so it's still the same name, it's not a different name. And I subtitle the Parashat of this morning as the Covenant of Peace. The Covenant of Peace. Remember earlier in the morning I was saying during the announcement, there is a very important ingredient for peace to be maintained, for peace to last, for peace to be eternal. And that ingredient is what? Is love. If there is no love, I'm telling you, there cannot be peace. So in another form, we can see that Pinchas actually has a very strong love for his people because he atoned for their sin. So in one side, Pinchas as a man is a form of what? Is a form of a Messiah who defend and save his people when they really, really need it. Even though Moshe Rabbeinu was relaxing as an old man, he doesn't even know what to do. He was relaxing, he just said, okay, it's these people that want to be stubborn like a goat, let them continue to be a goat because I've done my best. I don't know what to do for them again. So again, God is rising up a what? A savior for his people. So, but as I said, you might look at him from different perspective or from different binocular. You might say, okay, from the left binocular, he's a racist. But a kind of a racist, something like that, because he killed the other woman, because it's not from his own people. Or you can say, oh, this man is a lunatic. You can say, this man is an extremist. You can say whatever you want to say. From one perspective. From the God's perspective, from the Torah-based perspective, this man was a man that is filled with love to defend his people, to defend them when they really need it most, because they were nearly being wiped out because of their what? Because of their iniquity. The same idea, if you look at those ideas, the same idea of Yeshua HaMashiach, because God is ready to say, you know what? These people, they be sinning, I'm tired of them, I'm going to wipe them out. Because Yeshua said, okay, God, please don't wipe them out. Leave them alone. I will give myself for their iniquity or for their transgression. So understanding this, that it is love, there's a song among my people that we always say that it is love that brought him down. It is love that brought him down. Without love, he wouldn't have come down. But because it is love that brought him down. So this is the understanding that it is love that makes someone to act. Even though when you don't want to act, when you just want to keep your face closed and say, you know what, I'm tired of these people, but because you have deep roots of love for your people, you say, no, if I can't do it, if nobody wants to do it, then I need to stand up and do it because I love my people. I don't want them to be eradicated. I don't want an end of them because these are my blood and I want them to continue, in the land of the living. Okay. We, the Hebrew people, rationalize the reason why certain things happen in life. It's always like that among our people. We always rationalize it. As difficult as it sometimes as to accept it, we nevertheless try our best. It is true the approach that what is we know in Hebrew as Gam Zu L'Tova, which means everything is for the best. We always wish for the best. Everything is for the good. Or we don't know anything happens. And in different approaches to difficult times, but we bring God into the picture, thus bringing us closer to Him. Because as we hand over everything to Him, every time you say, oh, by the grace of God, God willing, by the time of God, we try to always want to bring God into the picture of our life. Because we know from the bottom of our heart that the life does not belong to us. We don't own it. It is a borrowed energy. It is a borrowed power. It is a borrowed spark. It is not yours. But the owner can say, okay, I need my power back or I need my energy back. What I go to do is say, hey, no. It is mine. No, it's not yours in the first place. You are borrowed. Just for a time. So we need to understand. So if you have that understanding at the back of your mind, you know that it is God, it is by the will of God. It is what God wants that will happen, not what I want or what a man wants. I recently had a beautiful word of the Torah about the name of God and the word Shalom, which is one of God's name. Remember, one of God's name is also peace. If we exemplify the middos, right, of God through peaceful action, we will then acquire a stronger bond and relationship with Him. When we, clean ourselves to God, when we hold ourselves to God through a peaceful action. You might say, oh, Rabbi, are you telling me that the action of Pinchas is a peaceful action because he slaughtered a woman and a man? To me, according to the 21st century, that is not what? That is not simple, that is radical. Right? That what people will say, oh, it's a radical in one sense, or like that. But in the case of the Torah and in the case of this war at that time, it was what? It was a kind of a peace because his action bring peace for his people. The action he took made God to stop killing them one by one. God called the angel, hey, stop, enough, because an atonement has been made. If the atonement were not made, then they will have been wiped out. It doesn't matter. So, because it is a man that brings the atonement before God. What is the work of the Kohen Gadol? That is it. The work of the Kohen Gadol is to bring what? Atonement for the people, to make atonement for the people. And that was exactly what Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, a Kohen. That's what he did. He did the work of his what? Of his grandfather. Even though his own father, Eleazar, was sitting down watching. But the grandson of Aaron stood up and stand for the challenge. The focus of peace is highlighted in the beginning of this week's Parsha Pinchas. So, what is the meaning of the name Pinchas in the first place? Because we need to understand what that name means. Because our people, we don't give names to people or children like that. I said it many, many times. We give names to children based on what happened while the mama is pregnant or what happened when the child was born. There's a meaning, there's a destiny attached to the name. For us, from our own point of view, understanding. In the Western understanding, that might be a different case. I cannot say. Everybody has their own culture and their own tradition. But for us, there is a meaning to your name. And your name is attached to your destiny for the rest of your life. So we need to understand that particular meaning very, very well. The meaning of the name Pinchas is Nubian, meaning dark skin. That was what the name means, Pinchas. Dark skin. Skin is dark. That's what it means. But our rabbi translated it in a different form. Try to use the two words combined together, pin and has, meaning the mouth of a snake. The mouth of a snake. Pin meaning the pear meaning the mouth. While nahash, has meaning the snake. So we need to understand, but they use the two words to interpret the name. But we need to understand dark skin, Nubian, or the mouth of a snake. We need to understand the purpose, and even though there's another third interpretation of it, which means I'll say that downstairs. But it's a very deep understanding in the spiritual sense. I'm talking about in the suit of the meaning of the name for the action that he did. Actually, his name, the action that he took, came out the interpretation of his name. The way he killed Zimri. So we need to understand what it is his name, the destiny of his name that is pursuing him, or that is following after him. Following last week's episode, at the end of Parashat Balak, Pinchas rises up and kills Zimri, ben Saloo and Kazbi, but Tzur, as they committed a public act of immorality. Many are challenged Pinchas' braveness and quick action, calling into question whether he acted properly or not. God backed up Pinchas, as it is stated in the book of Bamidbar, chapter 25, verse 12 to 13, which said, "Therefore I say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and his seed after him the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was jealous for his God, and he made atonement for the children of Israel." So you can see from the perspective of the Holy One, blessed be he acted properly. But from the perspective of a man, it's different. The way of God is foolishness to the people of the world. You need to understand that. It's dumb. You are dumb. You don't understand. You have no idea because you cannot understand the physics. You cannot understand that the formula is E equal MC squared. Okay, but God is telling you the opposite. Say, God, who is right? What is his name? Einstein or Einstein or whatever you guys? Is it Einstein that is right or God is right? Say no. I believe Einstein. I jump to the camp. Okay, continue jumping the side of Einstein or Einstein, whatever his name is. Me, I'm on the side of God. So we need to understand the way of God is foolishness to the people of the world. They don't get it, and they will never get it as I think because they don't want to get it. Because they allow the physicality to control. And when you allow your flesh to control the soul or the spirit, then don't wonder and don't come and cry. Say, hey, this has happened. Yeah, okay, go look your life. Go back, make a trace. Step back. You are too close to the mosaic. Step back and try to introvert or whatever it is, introvert your life. Go back and start thinking, where did I get it wrong? Maybe I can restart again to make it right. So we need to understand this thing from the side of God, not from this perspective of a man. Because from the 21st century perspective, the action that Kazbi and Zimri did in our life now is even worse. I was coming from my work yesterday in the subway. In my head, the Parashat was in my head. I was thinking about the Parashat in the subway. Behold and lo, as we get to Atwada, some group of people, they came in, and as if God is trying to test my patience, and all this, there were like 20 or 10 of them, young people like that, just came in like this, and behold and lo, I can't look up again. They were all half naked, all the girls. I say, Zimri is what is Zimri? It's like Zimri and Kazbi, in the subway, and to them say, in the name, or in the name of it's too hot. That can't you see that it's hot? This is unbearable. That is Kazbi and Zimri in the 21st century. And if you speak, they say, who are you? Are you my mama or my papa? You can't tell me what to do, no? I can wear whatever I want to wear. And in those days, my grandfather, would tell me, if a woman wear what he wants to wear, like whatever a woman, okay, if a woman, okay, I'm going to translate in English because it doesn't make sense. Okay, I mean, to human in the 21st century, it doesn't make sense, but for me, it makes sense. But the translation is if a woman wants to wear what he wants to wear, then don't come and cry when you see what you want to see. Does it make sense? If a woman dress what she wants to dress, don't come back and cry when you see what you want to see. Does it make sense? So when the consequence of what you dress come to you, don't cry. That's the meaning of what, because there's always a consequence for every action. When you dress, it's an action. Upon an action. And when the man, because his head is not right and he did anything wrong, don't blame the man. Say, he can control himself. So why don't you control yourself? Dress what is good, decent, and nice. I'm not saying the man is right. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that let's be decent. Decency is good, Let's walk in the right path. The commentary explained God made a covenant of peace with Pinchas because it defended his honor, the honor of the Holy One, blessed be he. The word Kinei described Pinchas being jealous for the sake of God and standing up for the Holy One, blessed be he. When nobody, even though not his father, Eliezer, want to stand up. The Kohen Gadol. He buries his head, this one is too much for me, let me go and hide. Sometimes it happens like that when the leader becomes coward because of the people. We see them many of them now. They say, okay, there is this. Everybody gathered together. The people they rise, sponsor the so-called sponsor name revolution, right? They sponsor the people against the leader. Maybe the leader is doing right, and one country or the other doesn't like it. He sends money, rise up. And when the old people rise up against the leader cannot even stop. He fly his family and run away from the country. That is the idea here too, these leaders, they rose up against Moshe. They rose because their action speaks. They rose up against Eliezer, the Kohen Gadol. While their action say, hey, Simon, forget about Moshe, he's an old man, he can do nothing. You know, this old man is about to die. These were the new generation, right? We are the one who is educated from Oxford University, from MIT. So we have all the knowledge of the world. We can do anything. We can manipulate any molecule. And I don't know if any of you have read the medical journal that just came out this week. In the United States, they make an artificial cell, and this artificial cell. So what of that? This it's not a living cell. It's synthetic. It's a living cell. A synthetic living cell that reproduces. It reproduces itself. Reproducing. It's not natural. It's synthetic, but it reproduces. The program is. Can you see the level of understanding of mind that God has given us? And there will be people who will say, "Yeah, this is true." Okay, stand by that side. I'm not saying it's not true. In the fact, you can see it from laboratory that if you produce, if the colony increase, it's synthetic. But you need to understand who gave us that mind, who gave us that power, who gave us that understanding is Him. And so therefore, if you want to overthrow that understanding, He can do it also by Himself. So I'm not disputing the knowledge. The knowledge is there, but this knowledge, what do we use it for? That is the key. For good or for the other side. You need to understand. So therefore, my people, so if we look at what the Holy One is saying, that the world is describe the jealousy of Pinchas is Kinei, right, and which is paired with Aleph. But I would like to use, another system, that if we exchange the Aleph with Hey, it's also spelled Kinei. But in that name, meaning that it's a different understanding, which means to what? To do what? To receive, to achieve, to take. The word is also spelled Kinei, but in this sense, Pinchas acquired, received, get something from God. What did he get from God? He got Shalom. He got that covenant, the covenant of peace from God. And remember, for you to atone is what? For you to atone for sin, you have to do what? You have to give a thing. You need to. It's also an exchange. Atonement is always an exchange. You need to understand. For you to atone for something, you need to give something to acquire, to get something. And so therefore, those two men, so the man and the woman who are committing the immoral act has to go. They have to be what? Eliminated for the Shalom, for the peace, to God, to serve. Since Pinchas acquired something from God, it turns out to be an atonement for the Hebrew people. The item that Pinchas acquired was Shalom, which is peace. As his action calmed this rebellion action of Zimri against Moshe and the leadership. Therefore, there was a great deal of confusion and unrest at the time of Zimri and Kazbi performing or this public sin in the sight of all people. Pinchas restored the peace and calmed the revenge, that ravaged the camp of the people of Israel. So when you are a leader and you are performing a public act of indecency, what are you saying, my people? You are saying, my follower, follow me. It's right. That's what you are saying. Say nothing will happen. You can do whatever I want to. You can do whatever you want to do because you are what you are saying that me I'm doing it. Is there anything happen? Nothing happened. So therefore, let's continue to commit. Let's double down. Our sin, and then hope for the best. We double that in our iniquity, we double that in our sin, we even continue to commit the greatest of the greatest of the gravest sin, that nothing will happen, Let's see if it's going to happen or not. And we can see that also what is happening in the world of now, where children has been taken and exploited by the so-called wealthy people, where children are being offered as a sacrifice to their gods. where blood is being sucked, for them because they want power. And they said nothing will happen, there is no God. God cannot challenge them. The time will come, and we know who is who when the time comes. The Torah message becomes very clear with the understanding that in order for us to rise to the level of Pinchas, we do not necessarily need to seek a public sinner in order to defend God's honor. We are not saying that, okay, I want to be like Pinchas, let's go outside and take a machete. Or you have your own hunting gun, let's begin to shoot them one by one in the metro. That's not what I'm saying. No. There is a lot of ways that we can stand for God's honor. And here are some of the examples. Rather, the secret of defending God's honor is by bringing peace into every situation we find ourselves in. Always, there is a plan of the other side to bring what? To bring chaos. Remember, last week I was saying, before God created the world, He has to create order, which means in order there is peace. If there is no orderliness, there is chaos. No, the opposite of orderliness is chaos, right? And the opposite of uproar is peace. No, so that is the idea here. We have to bring peace into every situation that we might find ourselves. At your work, as I said, they look at you, they study you. Those people, they are not stupid. They study your way of life. They study the way you communicate. They study the way you act. They study even though your step one by one, the way you walk. They study what you wear. They study it. And when they see that it's not like them, and they look, first of all, okay, let me see, maybe he or she is pretending. And they see that it's constant. It's constant. No, this guy, this woman, this man, this boy, this girl is different. Then they want to draw close to you. And because they are intrigued now, they want to ask questions. They want to say, hey, what is going on? Why do you behave not like the people, not like the rest? Because they see the difference. They see this Torah speaking through you. You don't have to speak. Your action speaks for you. That is the idea. Whether we diffuse a fight between two friends in the way Aaron and Cohen did, or create shalom by it at home, or we can also create shalom at home and within family, is the most obvious way of recalling and honoring God's name. Perhaps there is a greater way to bring and defend the honor of the Holy One, blessed be He, that is outside the rim of our home, outside the rim of our family, and outside the rim of our friends. It is the time we find ourselves under dear pressure and upsetting circumstances that test our patience. When you find yourself in the circumstances that test your patience to the limit, that is when you can honor God's name. Because what the other side want to do is for you to burst out in a negative sense. And when you burst and say, hey, I told you, we are all the same. I told you, everybody is the same. Then they never change. Everybody. But when you stand that pressure and what comes out, the action that you take is contrary to the action they are expecting from you, they begin to scratch their head. Say, I never know, or I never knew that this guy or this man or this woman or this girl or boy can come out from another angle. Because to them, everybody has to come out from this angle. And you are coming out from this angle. And to them, it's a surprise. Because of the way you control the situation. You are not controlling it as a person who doesn't have the knowledge. You control it as a person that has the understanding of the Torah. And that's marveled them. And they say, wow, this is different. I can't believe it. So, my people, we have to understand this. This is the time to display a more peaceful disposition that brings us close to God. Let me give us a real example what is going on in our planet. There's a country in Eastern Europe, right? They have been fighting war. I'm telling you what is happening in that country, right, in Eastern Europe. If it is the West, if it is us that situation is, I'm telling you, we will have caused third world war. We, the Western, we will never accept that your people is being bombed, sponsored by another person, and the whole world know that they are the ones sponsoring it against you. But there is a leader that is calm. is looking at things from a different perspective. Because most of our leaders in the West, we are spontaneous. We don't reason, we just jump. But there are people that God has created that they are not looking at today, but they look at tomorrow. Right? As they calm. But remember, the Torah said their calmness is not what? It's not cowardness. No. It's not that they are weak, but because they know the power that they have. So they are calm, they wait. And wait. And wait. There's an animal like that in the water. They call the animal crocodile. I don't know the Western crocodile, but I'm talking about the night crocodile where I came from. The night crocodile will wait days waiting for food. But because he knows the animals will surely come to drink water. They don't come, okay, I know they will become thirsty and they will come for the water. He was patient. He doesn't eat for months. He wait down there. The animal are eating grass. He is patient. He wait. And when the animal comes to drink water, oh my, they go have mercy upon them. They become a food for the crocodile. So we need to understand what people do. You know that patience is not weakness. You just wait until when you drag yourself into the pit that you dig for yourself. So the same act, the same way the Holy One blessed be He act also. There is not a doubt in my mind that the way the Israelites acted during the awful situation like that of Kazbi and Zimri created a covenant with God due to the peace in the manner that Pinchas behaved. In contrast, there are second group that we say, in every generation, in every family, in every country, in every situation, like in your work, there are always the second group. And this is what they are going to say. Who are you? Who do you think you are? Who makes you the prosecutor, the judge, and executioner over us? Our lives is what is in our hand, and we can do whatsoever we want. We are free people. There are people like that. They don't see from God's perspective, and we see them also in the Torah with Moshe Rabbeinu. They're always like that. Who are you? You can't do anything. Let me do what I want to do. I have one life. Let me enjoy my life to the fullest. Nobody's asking you not to enjoy your life. But what kind of enjoyment do you want to enjoy? Enjoyment that will bring death to your own people? Does it even make sense? And immorality is immorality anywhere you find it. Call it the name. But it's sad that in our world now we have different names for them. A fancy name that they give it so that you continue to do it and you don't realize that what you are doing is immorality. Give different names, fancy names, but they don't want to call it the real name. Because when you call it the real name, you think twice. So they give it a nice, beautiful name. And you don't know. You just continue to do it because in your consciousness it's not there. You don't realize what you are doing. In conclusion, the numerical value, the gematria for the word Shalom is 376. Right? And the word Zehu Mashiach, Z-H-U, Zehu Mashiach, is the same numerical value, which is 376. So primarily, Pinchas was a kind of this is the Mashiach for them at that time, because he saved them from the wrath of God. He saved the people from their own doing, from the grave that they dig for themselves. Yeah, you might say, oh, did they dig it for themselves? Of course, because even though you say that it was Balaam that give them the advice and so and so forth, people can conspire against you, but you are not dumb to follow the conspiracy. You have your own head. You are not zombie. You can think. You can say, Moshe has given us the Torah. I understand the Torah. I know the Torah. These are the leaders that are committing this iniquity before the people. Not even the people, but the leaders. And the people pay for the sins of the leaders. Not than the people that did nothing wrong. Right? They are not paying for the sins of their leaders. So we have to understand this point. Pointing to the necessary component that will ultimately bring the Messiah. What will ultimately bring Messiah is for us, for me and you, to begin to create peace among ourselves, among the people, among the nations. In any situation that we find ourselves, let us create peace. It is peace that will bring down the Messiah. Without peace, the Messiah will just look, let them continue wrangling among themselves. When they are ready, I will know. When they begin to create peace among themselves, I will know. We seem to be in that is creating an atmosphere of shalom, of peace, is something we are all capable of doing at many points of our lives. Let us bring peace and strengthen the brit, the covenant that we ultimately be the cause of the Holy One, blessed be He, in building the temple, His temple, that he has promised that He's going to build His temple in our soul. Remember, look inside. The temple is not outside there. The temple is inside. Don't say, hey, the third temple, begin to build it in your soul. Yeshua always point out that everything is not outside, it's inside. The kingdom is inside, it's not outside there. That one that you are seeing is a fake. It's a what? It's a mirage or mirage or whatever they call it. It's a mirage, right? It's a mirage. But the real temple is in it. But that one outside there will not save you. But this is the one that saves you. What your action, the internal one. So let's look inside. Let's begin to build peace. If you don't build peace for yourself, you cannot build peace outside. You cannot give what you don't have. You have to give what you have. When you have peace for yourself, you then begin to build it. You begin to give it out. And then that one, we give it out. The other one, we give it out. Then we can have peace among ourselves. We are all children of God. Why do we keep one another? Why do we fight? Why do we create war? Why do everybody want to dominate everybody? We can live peaceably without war if we want as a human being. But there are people who doesn't want, because in chaos they reign. In chaos, the thing in chaos is their success. The thing in chaos, that's when they have prominence. That's like, oh, they can talk about them. But when there's peace, nobody will know me. So I need chaos for people to know me. Doesn't make sense, So as a people of God, as the children of the living God, and as the student of the Torah, let's begin to create peace. It is a covenant of peace that can bring down the Messiah. If we want the Messiah to come in our days, let's begin to create peace among ourselves, one by one. From today, go to that person that you think is worrying at you. Hey brother, hey sister, how are you doing? Let them begin to see that you are different, that there is something that is genuine. You are not doing it just for doing it sake. I'm serious, please. Do it from your heart, from your soul. Do it the right way, from the way of the Torah. Come out, and you see that the light of the Torah, the light of the living God Himself, begin to shine through you. Parasha Pinchas, the covenant of peace. Shabbat Shalom.